Heartbreak once again for your Dallas Mavericks after falling to the Nuggets in what was a thriller in the Mile High City. We'll recap and break it all down here. Coming up next here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carell and our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. We are DLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Bobby Carell. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. Our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, will be joining us at Ball Arena during the course of our post-game show. Unfortunately, the Mavericks fall tonight to the Denver Nuggets in what was a thriller in Ball Arena, 122-120, despite Kyrie Irving's exploits going for 43 points for the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic going for 24 in the loss. Nikola Jokic going for 37 points, 15 assists, and 18 rebounds, and a vintage classic Jokic performance as the Mavericks fall to 5-5 on the season. The Nuggets finish off their 5-game homestand, a perfect 5-0, and run their win streak to 5 games, gentlemen, as I bring in our guys, Bobby Carella and Mark Stein. Bobby, obviously a game where the Mavericks felt like they had a chance at the end. Kyrie Irving missing a potential game-winning three-pointer. At the end of the game, the Mavericks falling short to what was a Nuggets team that had the goods down the stretch.
Yeah, Kevin, I went to the store yesterday and bought some new furniture. I'm ready to talk about that for the next hour. It's very comfortable. The love seat has cup holders in it. The Mavs found themselves in a crunch time duel with the crunch time kings down the stretch. Jokic and Murray are the duo in the fourth quarter, and I know the Mavs were arguably the best fourth quarter team in the NBA, or certainly one of the best whenever, push came to shove in the final moments. They actually outdueled the Nuggets once last year, but Jokic and Murray play off each other. Luka and Kyrie take turns, and Luka's turns didn't go so well tonight in the fourth quarter, and Jokic and Murray's did, and Michael Porter hit the go-ahead, and the Mavs felt like they were waiting all night for someone else to score that wasn't named Kyrie or Luka. So saw a little bit of a difference,
I mean, those last two possessions were hard to watch. Mavs get a rebound. Jokic missed, right? I mean, Jokic shocked the world and missed one. Mavs collect the rebound. Don't get up court as swiftly as they should. Long three from Luka doesn't go. The last shot after Michael Porter gives Denver the lead, that wasn't a great look after Kyrie put on a shot-making show for which none of us have the words. My take, though, is I don't think I'm going to be in line with the chat room tonight. I think it's going to be huge disappointment and pain and anguish. I had so little expectations for them in this game. We weren't even sure if Luka was going to play.
Yeah.
You don't have Lively and PJ Washington. Actually watching this tonight would make me, were I wearing Mavs goggles, and we know that I'm too neutral for that, but if I was wearing my Mavs Shady Rays right now,
there you go.
Company, man.
I would be so much angrier about the homestand. They just went to Denver, which is about as tough a place to play as there is, just because you got to get used to the altitude. I mean, I think one of the reasons we saw Jason Kidd so frequently substitute early, besides the fact that the bench hasn't been delivering, is because he was trying to counter the altitude, which, the Mavs fly in Saturday, spend one night in Denver, and have to play. It's not an easy adjustment to make. It's a tough, they were so generally solid. We can nitpick certain possessions and, the Jamal Murray call, we can have a conversation about that like we had about
too soon.
Yeah, too soon.
But the overall performance, given the circumstances, where you're playing, the guys you don't have available, Luka game time decision because of a groin injury. When you bake all that in, to me, where was that solidity at any point during the homestand? This was the best they played besides the Minnesota game. Where I didn't see this team, okay, they had two comfortable wins against banged up Orlando and Chicago. But like I'd be more mad about how loose the homestand was when I judge it against this performance.
I think, Kyrie once again showed that he is just like, he plays a different sport than everybody else. J Kidd said, we need energy. J Kidd said, we need scoring. The Mavs desperately needed to get off to a better start. And Kyrie was playing so fast and so hard from the jump, and he never ran out of gas. It really felt like in that Phoenix game, he was trying to take over in the fourth, and he and KD started going back and forth. And it looked like he ran out of gas. The Mavs go to the mountains tonight. Kyrie did not get tired. Like, he missed that game winner missed. It went off the heel of the rim. Like, he shot it too far, actually, not too short. He responded, I think, to what J Kidd was saying. And he kind of like set the tone early. But the Mavs still fell. What were they, down 30-23 at one point? I think they were down 16-9 again. Like,
and who's been a worse first quarter team this season than the Dallas Mavericks?
Don't say the Nuggets.
The Nuggets of Denver have been a bad first quarter team. I believe the stat was they were giving up 31 in the first quarter on average this season, which
got 29,
which had them at 29th in the league coming into tonight.
You're breaking my heart by saying that.
So they gave up 29 in the first quarter tonight, but the Nuggets scored 35 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I wanted to start with the positive, which is that Kyrie did what J Kidd was asking. He did the first part. He brought energy. I'm still waiting for the bench. I'm still waiting for maybe someone will check in and make a shot. Oh, the game is already over. Dang, it's too late.
Yeah.
Spencer Dinwiddie 2 for 6. Jaden Hardy 1 for 7. Omax 1 for 2. I think he missed another layup.
Smoked the layup, yeah.
He was minus 13 in 8 minutes. I thought Dwight Powell for the second straight game gave quality minutes off the bench, but Dinwiddie and Hardy go 3 for 13. I mean, Julian Strother outscored Dinwiddie and Hardy combined by 5 points. Like, he nearly doubled them up off the bench. And like, the Nuggets' bench is even worse than the Mavs, or it should be worse than the Mavs. And so, I'm still waiting for the bench.
Michael Malone played 8. That's a lot for him.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the Mavericks played 9 guys. Mavericks played 9 guys. He played 8.
And the Mavs 9 guys, or their 4 guys off the bench combined for 16 points. The Nuggets is 3 off the bench, including Russell Westbrook, who it's really kind of a bummer to watch him play at this point, but they outscored the Mavs bench. Dallas needs these guards. They need anyone off the bench to contribute anything. Like, Dinwiddie and Hardy are offense first players. They are both, at least ostensibly, good catch and shoot 3-point shooters, although they were 1 for 9 tonight. Neither of those guys is going to be an above average defender, and that's no slight to them. It's just they're offensive-minded players at this point in their career. So if you're already sacrificing defense by having them on the floor, you need them to score. And for this game to just be, there was just they were stuck in a desert offensively for most of the game until Kyrie dragged them out of it in the fourth quarter and almost took them to a win. It was really almost a one-man show. Now, Luka had an unbelievable passing.
He made 10 straight field goals.
He was unreal.
Yeah,
he was unreal.
I mean, look at the stat line. 17 for 22.
Yeah, at one point, as you mentioned, made 10 straight field goals.
You ain't going to see better efficiency than that from a 6-foot guard.
And the Nuggets, for most of the game, made Luka into a passer. He was being chased by 2 or 3 guys all night, and he made some really great passes.
Which was actually like a really curious strategy from Denver.
I don't like it.
You know Luka's a game time decision. I mean, surely they've heard the injury report that he has a groin injury of some sort. Like, I'm sure he welcomed the blitzing, which he hasn't seen a ton of. And it's like, he'll make the passes. Like, they made his life easier.
Yeah, and he found a bunch of cutters. He found Gafford, and he was finding open shooters.
And the Mavs had 29 assists tonight.
Yeah, but Mark and Kevin, non-Luka, now Luka was 2 for 8, so it's not like he's absolved for this, but obviously he was passing to the shooters. Non-Luka, non-Kyrie 3-point shooters on the Mavs tonight. 2 for 17. Oh, man, that's not going to get it done. 2 for 17.
Yeah, and we've already seen some folks in the chat make the point. No Quentin Grimes. He couldn't get off the bench tonight. Maxi Kleber, who was made active for this game tonight, he did not play a single second in this game either. The Mavericks going 10 of 33 from downtown for 30%. If you look at the box score and just some of the numbers from it, it just tells you how even this game was. I mean, the Mavericks shot 53% from the field. Denver shot 50% from the field. The difference, though, in this game, you see Denver went 14 of 29 from the three-point line. That includes a guy like this in Peyton Watson, who went 4 of 4 from downtown, had 16 points in the game. He was 6 of 9 from the field. And you look at what the Mavericks were able to do from a points in the paint standpoint. They scored 120 points tonight. 62 of them come in the paint tonight. Daniel Gafford was excellent. He was 7 of 9 from the field. He had 16 points in this game. It felt like in a lot of ways you got the offense that you were looking for. Kyrie going off. You're dominating in the paint. But down the stretch, the Denver Nuggets were the team that were able to make the plays. And specifically with Nikola Jokic having the kind of night that he did, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, as we mentioned as well, with the 18 rebounds, 15 assists, 37 points that he had. Jamal Murray, who didn't have a great night shooting the ball, he had 18 points in this game. But the team that made the plays down the stretch the most was the team that found themselves on the winning end of tonight's game. And for the Mavericks now, gentlemen, they now fall to 1-4 in clutch games so far this young season, and now at 5-5 overall. You guys started to mention it. The execution down the stretch was with the team in Denver, who made enough plays to be able to pull it out in the end.
First half Mavs were 21 of 30 in the paint. That is 70% from the floor.
That's really good.
Is 42 points in the paint. Second half, the Mavs were, if my math is correct here, 11 of 16 in the paint, which is still a good percentage. Still about 70%. But that's only half the attempts. And in the second half, the Mavs took, as a team in this league, 44 shots. They took more threes than they took shots in the paint in the second half. And that is just, it's just not, you know, it's not the way. It was a layup line in the first half. Like, keep shooting layups, man. Keep going to the basket. Like, just, but it was Jaden Hardy 0 for 2, Dinwiddie 1 for 2, Klay Thompson 1 for 4, Luka 1 for 5. Like, stop shooting threes. Make something happen. Make something happen. Like, you know, the one advantage, and I don't mean to harp so much on Dinwiddie and Hardy, but in a night where Luka's getting double teamed all the time, it really is, the impetus is on these other guys.
Yeah, they're the ones playing.
Yeah, like, and those guys are ball handlers, right? So if Luka's playing 1-on-2 and you catch it in a 4-on-3 situation, just go to the rim. Like, Jokic is slow. He's not going to get over there. Peyton Watson's guarding Luka. He's probably the most athletic player. He's 30 feet from the rim. You think Jamal Murray's going to block you? Like, go to the basket. Go to the basket.
Well, certainly, especially given where the Mavericks are playing their next game, I think Klay will be under the microscope because, you know, he had his opportunities tonight and, you know, 1 for 6 from deep. But look, the Mavs had chances to steal this game. They could have pulled it out, which would have been just win of the season.
None spilled. Caught
it. Good job. Good job, because we wouldn't want that.
I think a win under these circumstances would have topped the Minnesota game just because the Mavs were shorthanded here. But it felt like Kyrie making ridiculous shot after ridiculous shot to keep it so close, whereas Denver's late game execution, it just, one way or the other, it always ends up in Jokic's hands. And he just, wherever he is on the floor, low post, 30 feet out, wing, it just doesn't matter. He always finds the right guy. Murray's never far away. You know they're going to go to two-man game.
Mm-hmm.
And for as much grief as Murray's gotten for his early season performance and the way he finished the season in the playoffs and his Olympics, like they just, I don't know, it never felt to me like the Mavs were actually going to win this one.
And you saw how Denver started to attack in the end. You mentioned with Jokic and the execution down the stretch. Gafford had 5 fouls, and Denver repeatedly attacked him down low, whether it was Jokic getting deep into the paint, making buckets, or being able to get offensive rebounds. And what's a killer is that Michael Porter Jr., who didn't have a bucket at all in the second half until he had the go-ahead bucket with 6.5 seconds left to put him up 122-120, you were able to really bottle him up in the second half after what he had done to you in the first half, where he was lighting it up from the three-point line and really helping carry the Nuggets offense in the first half. The Mavericks actually were able to lead at halftime 63-60.
Hide your laptops around the Bobby guy.
Can't argue with that, honestly.
The Bobby guy.
Exactly. Yeah, because
that's what you've been reduced to. On this.
I am just some guy.
I
really
guy.
Well, you're spilling the water potentially on this one. You smoked it on one of your other canned waters too when you was out there at the
all right,
the lounge.
Leave me alone. Let's go to break.
Acting like Russell Westbrook smoking layups out here, man, with the water.
All right, that's a low blow, and you know it.
Let's take our first break here.
The Bobby guy has some reads to get through. Let the Bobby guy do his
We
reads.
both got reads to get to. We got to pay the bills here. Let's take our first break here on the Dlls Mavs post-game show. The turning point in this game and how things went down in what was a terrific game. Unfortunately, the Mavericks coming up on the short end. We'll break it all down coming up next year on the Dlls Mavs post-game show.
Swit, like, don't look now. It's like kind of cold outside, almost like a little bit at night when the sun goes down. It's like we're so close after like 10 p.m. You know, and it was sweatpants season this weekend. I wore sweatpants, and pretty soon I'm going to be wearing hoodies. But the problem is, Kevin, I'm a sweater. I'm a big sweater. But that's why
sweater weather.
That's why the hoodies from our friends at Rowback, they're going to be perfect for me, man, once it turns to hoodie weather officially, because these hoodies are designed, they're performance hoodies that are designed for comfort and built for activity, and they're moisture wicking with breathable fabric. With fall right around the corner, there is no better item to prepare for the season than adding one of their performance hoodies to your closet. They're the softest items they offer, and you won't want to take them off. Hey, even if you are a sweater, all right? Incredibly versatile. Wear them with a polo untucked or a tee on the move. Elastic waistband for easy comfort and nice, stretchy fabric. Clean look, and it does not matter what occasion, man. You're going to be looking good. So use the code DLLSMAVS20 on Rowback.com for generous 20% off your first order. That is RHOBACK.com. 20% off everything. Use code DLLSMAVS20. Make sure to check them out, and they'll have you ready for whatever travels or activities you have on the horizon.
Let me talk to all my ball knowers out there. When it comes to Sleeper, the Sleeper app you know for hosting the best fantasy football leagues in the game, now is allowed you to put your knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less in their projected stats each week. If you took the Eagles today to dominate the way that they did, I'm sure you took Jalen Hurts to have more than the 0.5 rushing touchdowns that he had, and he helped you out today because he and the Eagles absolutely torched the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see if they can bounce back. Actually, I'm not going to lie to you. The Cowboys not bouncing back no time soon. So I don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, if you were Sleeper, you might have bounced back with your bank account today if you handled your picks today when it came to Sleeper. So if you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use code DLLSMAVS. For a limited time, new users can now get up to their first deposit matched 100% up to $1,500, the largest deposit match offer ever for Sleeper. Make sure you remember that terms and conditions apply. So Sleeper's terms of use for details currently operational in over 25 states. So make sure you check out Sleeper today. The turning point of tonight's game as the Mavericks lose their second straight as they lose 122-120 despite Kyrie Irving going off for 43 points in this game. Incredible shot making from Kyrie Irving at one point making 10 straight field goals to really put the Mavericks offense on his back. But unfortunately, gentlemen, the Nuggets made the plays down the stretch, particularly in the fourth quarter. But when you start looking at some different turning points in this game, the big third quarter from Kyrie and then another one in the fourth quarter, he was the one that stabilized this offense because he brought the shot making. It was incumbent on some of the other guys to be able to really come with him. But unfortunately, it felt like he was the only one at times, gentlemen, who was the offense in this game. And down the stretch, did not make enough shots to be able to get it done.
Second half, Kyrie Irving, 11 of 14. Second half, the rest of the Mavs, 11 for 30. Kyrie,
Can you say that again, please? Can you say that one more time? Say that one more time.
It makes me really sad to say this, but the non-Kyries were 11 for 30 in the second half.
Jeez.
Kyrie, 5 of 7 from 3 in the second half. The rest of the Mavs, 3 of 14 from 3 in the second half. I mean, he was unbelievable. Like, I kind of almost get tired of talking about how good of a passer Luka is because I've said it for 6 years, but I've only been able to talk about Kyrie for like a year and a half. It is so much fun to watch him play basketball. It is just truly a privilege, especially whenever he goes like a special place like he did tonight. But there were some detail things too. So the Mavs, they get outshot from 3, 14-10 in terms of makes. So you're minus 12 on points from the three-point line. You're minus 4 on points from the free throw line. You're minus 6 in second chance points, minus 1 fast break points, minus 4 in bench points. You're even in turnovers. You got to make up points somewhere, you know, and you lose a game by 2. Like, think about all these details. Think about all the details. Just one extra stop there, one rebound there.
I feel like this final score, though, it's an illusion.
You think so?
Yeah, Kyrie just went to even for him, this was like, 17 for 22.
It was awesome.
Like that's
he made 13 of his first 15 shots in this game.
That's 2 notches better than great game. Like 17 for 22 is.
He might have one more game like this the rest of the season.
I mean,
he might need a few more in the way that things are going right now.
You're better on Basketball Reference than me, but maybe the next time I start rambling, how many games in his career has he shot it better with 20 shot attempts?
Give me 30 seconds. I'll let you know.
I mean, I would venture to say this has to be a top 3 game in his life, just on pure makes. So there was so much else missing from this performance, not just in the box score, like you said, but just from a sheer manpower standpoint, that I guess maybe that's why I'm not in a throw things all over the room kind of mood, because yes, there were opportunities to win it and steal it. You know, Luka had the late 3, Kyrie had the shot at the buzzer, get better looks there, and who knows what happened. So maybe they could have escaped here, but like, I feel like was it really a 2-point? I mean, it was, but it wasn't in some ways.
I mean, you were up 2. Kyrie hits that impossible bank shot on the left side.
Which, okay, that was a prayer. I mean,
but I'm saying he hits it. That comes with 139 left. You're up 120 to 118 with a minute and a half left. You don't score a single point for the remainder of the 90 seconds plus that you have in this game. That's a lack of execution down the stretch, despite the historic night that Kyrie Irving was putting on for himself.
Kyrie, one time in his career, has shot better than that on at least 20 attempts. 82.6%. January 31st, 2020, he had 54 points in a win over the Chicago Bulls. Was
that opening night? That was his first game, because that was the delayed season,
Jan
right?
31. No, so it wouldn't have been the first one. He did have a 72% performance against the Dallas Mavericks, actually, in 2017. Scored 47 points on 22 shots. I don't remember that one. I must have blacked out that night. Now, we spent quite a bit of time talking about Luka's shot, or like the last play or whatever against Phoenix, 0.8 on the clock, and Luka takes like a 40-footer. It's like, well, could they have gotten a better shot? Maybe. I don't think that they could have, because it's 0.8 seconds. Everyone knows if Klay's coming off a screen, you just double it. Like, there's no surprises. They get the ball back with 5.5, 6 seconds left.
6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Inbounded to Kyrie, and he just kind of stands there. Nothing happens. And then he takes a face-up 3. Like, we've seen him make that shot before. We have seen him make that shot before, but
when you pulled 10 plus out of the bag just to get to that point, I mean, at some point, again, I mean,
and he did that again earlier.
17 for 22 is so nonsensical, you wouldn't even say that you dreamed it.
I don't want to necessarily say that like Kyrie's a bonehead for taking that shot or anything. I don't know that you can run a full play in 6 seconds. You can at least set a ball screen and see what happens, but man, I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten just at least a little more creative than just stare down on the wing, you know.
So let me ask you in the chat this as well, because with that shot he got, again, with 6.5 seconds left, look, the way that the Nuggets were executing down the stretch, you're clearly going for the win at that particular point. Is there a lack of confidence that by the time you get to, you shouldn't feel this way, especially with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving on your team, but it didn't feel like this team was getting stops when they needed to? Did they feel like they needed to go for the win? Because if you go into overtime with this team, the way that the Nuggets were executing, that you may have felt like you were going to run out of gas.
I don't mind going for the win. I like it. I don't care. Yeah.
So you didn't mind the shot that they necessarily took?
I don't mind taking a 3. I didn't like what they did.
Okay.
Their last three shots was Kyrie prayer 3, Luka prayer 3, Kyrie 3 at the buzzer. Like, you could have done better than that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, there is definitely merit to that, because not only is it going to overtime, you're going to overtime in the altitude of Denver with a shorthanded team.
Yeah.
So there are 5 reasons to go for the win there. But yeah, like they had multiple opportunities to get, one good look out of 3 at the end would have been nice.
It was just brutal shots too.
Say it with your chest, Bobby.
Say brutal shots. Like,
he's sad. He's sad.
Like, I think the Kyrie shot I had a bigger problem with was the one right before that. He was going 2 for 1. Mavs get the ball with like 50 seconds left or something, but he waited too long to shoot it. So he takes a really off balance, kind of desperation force 3 with like Denver gets the ball back with 29 seconds left or something. It was too late. If you're going to go for 2 for 1, you can take a tough shot. It is what it is. I don't like it, but if you're going to do it, then do it with 33 seconds left. That way, if Denver runs a whole play, runs a whole clock out, you get the ball with 9 seconds. That's an eternity,
Well, it also doesn't help. It also doesn't help when Kyrie is having this out-of-body experience, but Jokic is on the other side. Let's not forget what he amassed here.
He is a beast.
His tidy 37, 18, and 15.
Not impressed.
Unimpressed. Made all three of his threes.
Luka's the MVP. I don't care.
But think about it. I mean, Denver comes in. They're trying to finish off what is a 5-game homestand for them. And they were able to, based off of not only what Jokic was able to do, you got a timely shot, obviously, for Michael Porter Jr., but for the Mavericks standpoint here, again, we will talk about it as the rest of the season goes on. They were able to climb themselves back into this game, but you were playing from behind once again. You're playing catch-up as this game goes on, even with your ability to take the lead with 90-plus seconds left. I mean, think about it. In that fourth quarter, the Mavericks started that fourth quarter on an 8-3 run to take a 2-point lead. Denver returns the favor. They go on an 11-3 run to take a 5-point lead with 4.5 minutes. So it's like you're constantly playing this game of coming from behind, and it never felt like they were able to get themselves in position to play comfortably from a lead. But at the same time, you give the Nuggets credit for being able to handle themselves down the stretch. But the Mavericks have got to find ways to get off to better starts, and that's something that we've been talking about constantly for this team so far.
I forgot Jokic had 3 steals also.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a 3. Peyton Watson didn't miss a 3. Just chill out, guys. Jokic picked off that Luka pass right at the top of the arc with 3 minutes to go to. That was a disaster. I mean, in this game, 22 lead changes, 15 ties, real back and forth.
Fourth straight triple-double for Jokic.
Unimpressed. Talk to me when he gets to 40 straight triple doubles, right?
or fourth MVP in 5 years.
The West can deliver a dang classic, though. These last 2 games have been so much fun. Obviously, you're pulling your hair out, at the end of both of them, and that's a big bummer because last season the Mavs win both of these games. Like the Mavs just found ways to win games that maybe they shouldn't have last year. This year, not so much yet so far, but. Man, what a good game. God, what a good game.
I mean, and you give the Mavericks credit, again, shorthanded with no P.J. Washington, no Derek Lively II. The energy, especially in the second half, was much better. The aggressiveness was much better in the second half. You just didn't have it in the end to be able to knock down the shot that you needed to. So hopefully, if you're looking for any kind of silver lining with the tough loss that you had against the Phoenix Suns, the tough loss tonight, obviously, against the Denver Nuggets, it felt like there was a response to the urgency that Jason Kidd was looking for, at least for the final 3 quarters of this game, to give themselves an opportunity to win. Can you find that, though, in the beginning of the game?
Again, if I had my Mav Shady Rays on, the thing that would piss me off more is that I don't feel like they went into Denver and, gave themselves a chance to steal one when they had no business to, given all the stuff that was working against them tonight. I don't think we saw that team once on the homestand. Just to me, I mean, they won a couple. They took Phoenix. They lost a heartbreaker that obviously prompted Kidd to unleash, the most frustration probably we've ever heard him voice publicly. But I just, that's what there were. Tonight is an opportunity loss you can get over. But some of those performances on the homestand, they will linger longer on my scorecard.
There was a desperation tonight that there wasn't, like in that Houston game and in the game. They're just those games. I'm not over those
Bobby's
games.
You shouldn't be over those games. Though, I mean, it was a 5-game homestand, which again in November, I'm sure it's happened and I just don't remember it. But I've lived here for more than 25 years covering this team. I don't remember too many 5-game homestands. And I remember, we launched this channel and this show on August 26th.
That's right.
And I feel like Bobby Corellistrator, one of your go-to statements from the Bobby guy for the first month of shows was, I really would love to see the Mavs get off to a good start.
We talked about that so much. We talked about this.
And when you have a 5-game homestand, that is an opportunity. And there was just no urgency on that homestand, really, at any point. And this West demands it even this early.
I mean, look at the West so far with the games being completed for tonight, obviously. Right now, the Mavericks, I know it's obviously just 10 games of the season, but we're going to look at the standings for what they are. If the season were to start today, the Mavericks wouldn't even be in the play-in at this point. And you have got teams in front of you like the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Lakers who are making his spots up 7 through 10 right now. But to underscore the larger point, Phoenix 8-2, Oklahoma City 8-2, Golden State, who you're going to see on Tuesday 8-2, Denver, who you lost to tonight 7-3, Like, you're finding yourself trying to uphill climb this thing already with teams. I know Phoenix is dealing with injury when it comes to Kevin Durant. Obviously, the Memphis Grizzlies, they got a litany of injuries that they're dealing with, even though they're in the 6th spot right now. But there's kind of the picture of what you're looking at so far.
Just to add to the point you're making here, Denver lost their first 2 games at home.
Mm-hmm.
They only lost 8 games at home all of last season. They go east. They need overtime to beat both the Raptors and the Nets, teams widely lumped into the tanking conversation. Their season started off terrible. They were 2-3 and easily could have been 0-5. They get a 5-game homestand and run the table.
Mm-hmm.
They take that homestand and seize it as an opportunity. And again, Denver, because of the altitude, we can't bring up the altitude enough. That makes what the Nuggets have at home a truly special home court advantage, and it's been that way for years and years and years. But the point is, Denver started season 2-3, could have been 0-5. Jamal Murray had a concussion. They lost Aaron Gordon to a long-term injury. And in spite of losing Gordon, this is not a deep team. You saw they only went 8 guys. No Gordon tonight. They jumped on their homestand. They've used their homestand to turn their season around.
The entire Mavs bench tonight matched Peyton Watson's scoring output.
Good
Peyton Watson is Aaron Gordon's understudy. Waiting on that kind of production from anybody on the Mavs bench. Outside of Najee Marshall that one time, he had a great game.
Yeah, that's true.
That was great.
No, and to me, that was really the best thing. The only real lasting positive that came out of that homestand was that Najee Marshall really cemented a role for himself on this team. And
what about the other new guy?
Went from a slow start.
He can't get on the floor right now. Good gracious. That guy can't.
Did you see that DLS reporter Tim Cato did ask post-game for an explanation on. I don't want to steal Tim's.
We're gonna get to him coming up here.
So, you know what? We'll wait for Tim.
Najee though has been good. He's been really good.
No, it was the Najee Marshall homestand. That's the only good thing that came out of it, was that after his own slow start, he was forced into the starting lineup, and he's really found a place with this team. But yeah.
Let's get to a couple of super chats from our guy Ardell. We'll start with the $2.77 super chat. Joker is that guy. Eminence front. That's great song.
Right. It's a put on, and they need to put some points on the floor. Jeez, dude.
That's a great song, by the way.
They need to put some resistance on Jokic. Gafford in foul trouble once again down the stretch. Could not get too physical with Jokic. It got worked. You gotta avoid picking up cheapies earlier in the game. That's basically what it is. Or you have to say, I'm gonna get a foul if I have to.
Yeah.
What you can't do is guard Jokic one-on-one. I'm glad they didn't double team him.
He was cooking him.
If you're going to guard Jokic one-on-one, you got to do better than that. But Gafford couldn't because he was in foul trouble.
Yeah, man. You had nobody in terms of another big man to help come in and help out in tonight's game. And let's get to a second one as well. Shout out to Ardell dropping all the cash tonight with the $2.41.
Hell no, they're not, Ardell.
He says, quote, "Are Bobby's Bucks faring better than our Mavs?"
Hell no.
That would be a no. In fact,
the Bucks are in full-blown crisis, so no.
The Bucks right now, gentlemen, are 2-8.
That is music to my ears, baby. I love this song.
Jeez. Ardell, do you feel like you got value for the $5.18 you just spent on these super chat questions?
I hope he did.
I would like to see your response in the chat, please.
I have gotten way less in my life for way more than that, so...
By the way, real quick before we go to break, I just want to underscore this point real quick. In the East, you talking about how things are going in the West so far. In the East, check this out. There are 1, 2, 3 teams above 500. Actually, at 500 or better.
I hate this song.
The Pacers are 5-5. The Celtics are 9-2. The Cavs are 11-0. Every other team after that is below 500 in the East. That is how bad the East is so far.
Disgraceful.
This season. No, Ben, the Cowboys did not win. Get out of here.
I think the most people have some sort of adult comeuppance that they experience when they're in their 20s or 30s. That's sort of this is how the world works. For me, it was when I was 10 or 11 years old, and the Mavs won 58 games and had the second best record in the NBA and still were the number 4 seed in the West.
Jeez.
The West is not fair. I think I was exposed to how the world really works at a very young age, Mark.
That Bobby kid.
Let's take
Ardell saying he got his money. He's
shout out to you, Ardell. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate your support.
The best $5.18 he's ever spent.
I called the Bucks downfall. I might not know anything, all right, but I do know.
He was ahead of the curve on the whole Bucks thing. Let's take our next break here on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. When we come back, Tim Cato live from Denver at Ball Arena. He will provide us his news and notes on what happened with the Mavericks tonight, including why Quentin Grimes cannot see the floor at this particular moment for Dallas. All that and more coming up next year on the Dlls Mavs postgame show.
Get ready for the fall season ahead with quality shades built to last, because the sun is always shining here in Dallas, Texas. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They got hundreds of options to choose from, too, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. Heck, they probably even have a pair in your favorite team's colors. Maybe that's the Mavs. Maybe after tonight, it's a different team. Maybe it's the Bucks. Maybe it's the Nuggets. Who knows? But they got them. And if you're anything like me, clumsy and with kind of a bad short-term memory, and you lose your glasses or you break them, they will replace them. No worries asked, because every single pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, that's promo code DLLS.
Let me talk to you about the best basketball the best basketball podcast in the game today. It is the All NBA podcast, of course, on the All City Network. You got to tune into the All NBA podcast, the daily show featuring our guy Adam Mares and the best basketball analyst in the world, Tim Legler. Back for season 2 and more excited than ever to be breaking down the games with a level of detail that you won't find anywhere else. Every show that Legs and Mares does, they break down the key moments, takeaways, and storylines surrounding the game. And they happen to have this guy to my right here, Mark Stein, on the show as well. Not you.
Okay.
Mark Stein on the All NBA podcast. Isn't that right, my guy?
Yeah, so they do 4 episodes a week, Mares and Legler, and then I drop in at least once a week, which is great. Sometimes I'm with the both of them, which is fun because, you know, Legs and I, 20 years ago, Legs and I used to be on a show every Tuesday night on ESPN called Coast to Coast. Greg Anthony was on the show. Rick Bucher was on the show. And some guy who went on to a fair level of fame named Stephen A. Smith was on the show. And so it is great to be with those guys talking hoop.
So make sure you check it out when it comes to the All NBA podcast, of course, part of the All City Network. Tune in live on their YouTube channel, of course. The All NBA podcast with new episodes 4 times a week, where you can subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you check out the All NBA Network. We're going to have to wait on Tim. Tim has got a little bit of I think Kyrie's about to be talking here pretty soon. So we'll wait for Tim Cato to be joining us here in a little bit.
Get him in the next seggy.
Yeah, we'll have to come to him in our next segment because, again, Kyrie Irving's about to jump to the podium. But shout out to Tyler B with the $4.99 super chat. He says a couple of things.
That's the most I've ever seen on a single question in my brief.
We mentioned the All NBA podcast.
That's right. And here comes the money.
Floodgates open.
Luka isn't making first NBA team, breaking his streak. We're a play-in team. Why bring Klay in? The last 2 games on the line, kid does nothing. In quotes.
Okay. Do we want to go line by line, item by item?
Yeah, go ahead and break it down.
I think it's too early in the season to say that Luka's not making his first All-NBA team, or that Luka's not going to make first team All-NBA. I mean, he's still probably putting up All-NBA numbers. I don't know his averages off the top of my head. You got to assume that his averages will pick up at least a little bit, especially his shooting percentages. Why bring Klay in? Mark, I'll let you get to that. But the last 2 games, game on the line, kid does nothing. Again, 0.8 seconds against Phoenix, you really can't do much. Tonight, 6 seconds, you definitely have enough time to run a play. But nobody on the team had it going except for number 11. So I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, I see there's a lot of kid dismay in the chat. And
yeah,
it's just like, I mean, this is what everyone does when their team loses. It's it's the coach's fault. But I think you could also, he really went after them after the Phoenix game. And I think you were always going to wonder what kind of response would we see, and it doesn't. I don't think it was an automatic that it was going to be a positive one. I think people were wondering, like, well, how will this land in the locker room
for him to go after the team's effort so publicly. The fact that they did respond with, based on my unofficial math, this is probably the second best they've played overall this season, apart from the win in Minnesota, all things considered, roster circumstances, etc. So I do think, he did get a positive response there. But yeah, I mean, tonight's last shot was not a great one. You want to put that on the coach, go for it. But
players play, coaches coach, right? Last play, coach probably needs to draw up a better play. But the 2 shots before that were much more egregious, in my opinion, players, Luka and Kyrie, are better than that.
Yeah.
They're better than that. Those are both bad shots. That's not J Kidd saying, I'm going to draw up a play where no one does anything and y'all take the most garbage shot of your careers with 2 seconds left in the shot clock. No, like, Luka did nothing on that play and then took a heave. Kyrie really didn't do anything and then took an ill-timed shot. He was trying to go 2 for 1 and he was way too late. Like, that's not coaching. That's those 2 guys who took you to the finals last year.
See,
what are you going to do?
And as you were bringing up that point, it made me think, because you're thinking about, late game execution, the difference between what the Mavericks were able to do down the stretch versus what Denver is able to do down the stretch. I feel like we shouldn't be talking about shot selection for 2 of the best in the league when it comes to these kinds of moments. And to me, that's a little concerning if you're looking at Luka and Kyrie and you're questioning shot selection for 2 guys that have been in these kinds of pressure moments and situations, that they need to be getting better shots when the team needs them most. And the kind of shot selection that they are getting and taking in terms of the shots down the stretch, that shouldn't be the case for 2 players of this caliber in my mind in that way.
Yeah, I mean, Luka
the offense has not flowed at any point this season on a level remotely reminiscent of last season. Again, we started on August 26th, and for a month's worth of shows before a ball was dribbled at training camp, we all said that this team will, on its worst days, be top 5, top 7 in offense, and we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Tonight in the first half, they looked really good. NBA.com hasn't updated the offensive rating or anything for the first half, but they had 63 points. They were looking real sharp.
That's what I'm saying. Tonight was the best they've played,
and that's because
outside of Minnesota.
And Denver was doubling Luka all game. That's why. That's why teams have just been content to switch.
Right, we haven't seen that.
Yeah, they're not putting pressure on Luka at all. Yeah,
and this narrative has been, we're not going to blitz Luka and we're going to take the lob away. And
tonight they were blitzing Luka, and guys just were clanging.
And no one's going to ask Michael Malone that because they won. But I don't know if he would have given us the reason, but I would have loved to know what made him go that route when, again, Luka is a game time decision and is not moving great. Aren't those the conditions that you can live with him in one-on-one coverage?
Well, and down the stretch in the game in the fourth quarter, they stopped blitzing him. They went one-on-one with him 3 times. One time he just inexplicably threw the ball right to Jokic. Another time he took a 18-footer, decent shot, but missed it. And then the other time was seemingly waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened, so he took a 30-footer. So, in those situations, if you're Luka, you're one of the best players of all time, you're one-on-one, you can't wait for coach to hold your hand and tell you to go. You got to do something, and Luka wasn't able to get anything going.
We got a lot of folks.
If you want to blame it on the coach, that's on you. You live your life. But, Luka's better than that.
We got a lot of folks in the chat.
Oh, my God. Someone outside really disagrees with that point.
Yeah, they do, because they're letting you hear about it right now. A lot of folks in the chat wondering, why Luka isn't getting downhill more. Why isn't he attacking the rim more? What are some things that are different based on what we're seeing in his game so far versus what we're accustomed to seeing when it comes to Luka Doncic? You got to remember, coming into tonight's game, he's dealing with a groin injury. That may have had something to do with it. Bobby discussing the way the defenses are playing him as well. There may be some things to do with that as well. What are you seeing differently from his game so far in terms of not getting downhill as much as we're accustomed to seeing him throughout the course of his career?
Switching more on him. So whenever he's coming off a screen, he's dribbling right into a man and not into open space. If a big man is going to drop, when teams blitz him, like tonight, they were showing on the screen, which isn't a blitz, so they're not jumping over the screen trying to push him to midcourt. They're basically trailing him around the screen with one guy as the other guy steps out. So Luka can't go forward because it's into a guy. He can't go backward because there's a guy right there, so he has to go side to side. And when he does that, he's stretching the floor almost like like a zone running scheme, Kevin.
Oh, look at you with the football
where you go
knowledge.
side to side and then you wait for your cutback lane. And he's so good at finding the cutters and finding shooters in those situations where he's stretching the defense side to side. And then he found Omax with a laser beam pass.
He did.
On a play just like that. But in both of those situations, whether you're switching or whether you're doing what the Nuggets were doing tonight, Luka can't come off a screen into an easy shot. He can't come off a screen into a driving lane. Furthermore, he's had a bum calf. He had a bum groin. He doesn't look like he's moving all that well.
Tonight, it's hard to make a judgment. I mean, again,
I'm talking before even tonight.
Like, the report comes out yesterday, left groin strain.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the word strain, your first thought is, how can he be questionable with a strain? Like, he's going to miss time. But now, if he wouldn't have played, it's Jokic, they're pals. Like, it's going to take something really serious to keep Luka off the floor in a game like this. So I figured he was going to go, but again, we're nitpicking the performance here. He still put up 24, 9, and 9. As you said, the way he was spraying the ball around in the first half was a huge factor in putting Dallas in a position to actually lead at halftime after another first quarter that wasn't the greatest. So, the fact that he played, got through it, I mean.
But as far as putting the ball on the floor and getting to the basket, in both the ways teams are defending him this year, he's going to have either burst or change of direction, really quick change of direction, start and stop, in order to get past guys. And whenever your leg is killing you, whether it's a calf or a groin or both.
He lost the whole he didn't play an exhibition game and lost all of training camp basically because of an inadvertent kick he took, calf strain, had 4 or 5 practices before the season, but he's been dealing with something from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a factor.
Yeah, he just doesn't look as quick.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Luka's got to go, how many times do we see him go left and then between the legs to the right and then he gets past the guy or goes into the spin. He just doesn't have those quick moves.
And I felt like in the Phoenix game was the first time he was starting to move like himself.
Mm-hmm.
First half, I felt like it was really the first time we had seen him with something close to his fullest zip. And then, you can see the clips of him in the second half where he's clearly the groin thing is already bothering him second half against Phoenix.
Yeah, he's just touching the paint way less this year so far. We'll
see. Tonight's game, you look at, again, a couple of the numbers here. One of the numbers that sticks out in this game, 22 lead changes in this game. The back and forth nature of this game between the Mavericks and the Nuggets was obviously fun to watch. You saw it in the fourth quarter, the incredible shot making and playmaking by both teams, whether it was Kyrie Irving, whether it was Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets. There was a lot of high-level basketball in this situation, and obviously for the Nuggets, making 1 or 2 more plays to be able to get this win. But you give the Mavericks a lot of credit, again, dealing with the injuries that they are dealing with. They came to play tonight, and Kyrie Irving leading that charge. They asked for more energy from this team. I think they were able to give it a lot better, especially in this game in the second half. If you're going to tell me you're going to get 62 points in the paint, and a lot of times you're going to win that game, but at the same time, there were a couple of other guys that you would love to have seen come with this team in terms of the scoring aspect of it. When you look at what the Mavericks got in terms of 43 from Kyrie, 24 from Luka Doncic, Najee Marshall had 11. Klay Thompson, again, 4-13 from the field, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. And I'm just going to say it now because obviously we got the game coming up on Tuesday. I'm not expecting much from Klay Thompson in that game against the Golden State Warriors. I think there's going to be an emotional dump in that game, that he's going to be dealing with a lot of emotion in that game as well. I don't know how much you're going to necessarily get from Klay Thompson in a game that's going to be filled with that much emotion, and mentally and emotionally is what's going to be dealing with in that game. So I was hoping that he could give them something tonight because of what Tuesday is going to bring for him. Hopefully he can be able to manage that, obviously, as the game goes on. But at the same time, you only got 10 points for him in a game where if you make 1 or 2 more three-pointers, you probably win this game.
Cato's got to bring us captain hats back somehow. He's got to get one for all of us, and producer Tanner.
Oh, there will be some.
He needs to come back with 4.
I thought
5.
you was going to be, in Golden State yourself.
I
know he's going. I thought you were going to be there too.
Oh, you want to do a watch along?
I'm going to be with you guys.
Oh, we might have to do a watch along there from the game.
I'm going to be with you guys.
Can I get one more Luka stat for last break?
Please.
So last season, Luka on 18 drives per game. So a drive, you start from outside the lane, you end up in the lane. It's not really glamorous, but that's how NBA defines a drive. 18 drives a game, 8 shots from drives a game, 61.6% on field goals on those shots. Luka this season, 18 drives per game, 8 field goal attempts on drives per game, 48.7% on field goals. So he is making 1 less shot per game off drives, basically. He's 4 of 8 this year. Last year, he was 5 of 8. What's 2 points, Kevin? Nothing, right? 2 points throughout a game, it's nothing. Well, they lost the last game by 1. They lost tonight by 2. So, again, we're talking about little itty bitty things.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
At least the Jamal Murray, whatever you want to call that, right elbow move to get 3 shots.
We didn't even mention that.
At least that did not cost them the game.
Oh, my God. It would have ruined my day.
The 2 ball don't lie missed free throws.
Ruined my life.
I mean, because look, Gucci Mane was doing his best to try to give that game away at certain points of the game. I'm talking about what's my man's name? James Williams. Yeah, Gucci Mane was out there trying to give it away big time. No? Pull up, look in the chat. If you pull up a picture of Gucci Mane and James Williams, tell me that's not the same person. Tell me that's not the same person. That was the other one of the referees tonight.
Oh, that's good.
For tonight's game. But yeah, Murray initiated that contact. Fortunately, ball don't lie. He missed 2 out of 3 free throws at that particular junction of the game. But it is what it is. At
ball
this
don't
point.
lie.
Yeah, the ball don't lie.
That was a disgraceful call. Disgraceful
It was
review.
awful.
It was disgraceful.
Like you could tell Murray threw out the elbow and initiated the contact.
He was doing the splits midair while he shot. You're telling me that's a natural shooting motion?
It wasn't anything.
That's
natural.
even worse than how Oso shoots. Get out of here.
Why you got to catch a stray on the show?
Because nasty shot.
Coming up next year on the DLS MAVS postgame show, Tim Cato live from Denver at Ball Arena. He's going to provide us his news and notes on tonight's game, and we'll figure out why Quentin Grimes can't get on the floor at this particular point. All that and more coming up next year on the DLS MAVS postgame show.
Hey, first, do you like free stuff? Who likes free stuff?
I do.
Raise your hand if you like free stuff. I like free stuff.
I guess Mark doesn't like free
Mark,
stuff.
you don't like free stuff?
I was distracted. Sorry.
Were you distracted by that sick DLLS hat that you're wearing?
I want one of them.
1 of 1.
That is a 1 of 1.
I.e. Insiders exclusive.
But soon, we are going to have some DLLS headwear for everybody. And I want to shout out my new best friend, Nick, who just is the most recent diehard. So I want to tell you a little bit about how you can support what we're doing here at DLS Sports. If you like or hate what you're seeing on the free post-game show, or you liked what you hated what you saw on the pregame show too, well, we're doing those here on YouTube all season long, 5 shows per week, 5 free shows per week covering the Mavs, the Stars, the Rangers, the Cowboys, and more shows on the way covering TCU. We got an SMU show coming eventually, I think. I don't want to spill the beans on that. Maybe other colleges in the Texas area. We got Wings. We got FC Dallas coming your way as well. So if you want to support what we're doing here, you can head to alldls.com/diehard or click the link in the description below, where for less than $7 a month, you can become a diehard. In exchange for that, you will get a free shirt. When you sign up, you'll get to read all of the paywalled content on our website, covering all the teams, post-game analysis, features, columns, opinions, breakdowns, film breakdowns, the whole kit and caboodle, baby. We got it all. You also get, what else we get?
Paywalled content from Denver from Tim Cato tonight.
That's right.
That's right.
Live on the scene. You want a written article about what the heck is going on with Quentin Grimes? We'll just slide into Tim's mentions and tell him that you want, and he'll write it for you if you're a diehard. Or ask us on the Dallas Diehard Discord Lounge. If you want to join our Discord server, you can do that as well. You get a discount on merch. You get a discount on events. You just get all sorts of free stuff, man. So if you want to support what we're doing, and if you want a shirt and you want a bunch of other cool stuff, hey, alldls.com/diehard or click the link below. Thank you very much. And shout out to Nick, the newest diehard.
You can show off your physical diehard card as well. Tag us on social media and we'll shout you out as well when you become part of our DLS sports family. Get alldls.com/diehard. Become a diehard member today. By the way, that's the second time today you used the words kit and caboodle.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
what was the
sorry.
first time?
Was it during
in the
that?
pregame show.
Oh,
You said it during the pregame show.
I got to
as well.
diversify.
What was the topic?
Yeah.
What was the topic?
Becoming a diehard.
Diehard. Exactly. That's why I was like, he
Oops.
said it again. Shout out to the consistency, though. The
Hey,
consistency.
I got one speed, baby.
Shout out to all gas.
I never stop, never stopping.
No breaks. Shout out to all of y'all in the chat as well. Got nearly 200 people watching. I need more likes in the chat. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. What was a difficult night for the Dallas Mavericks as they lose their second straight game when it comes to this season. Again, falling to 1-4 so far in clutch games this year.
That sucks. I don't like that stat. Change it.
You're a stats guy, so I'm sure you would appreciate better stats. Unfortunately, that's why the Mavericks are where they are at 5-5 on the season. It doesn't get any easier because on Tuesday they visit the Golden State Warriors as the Emirates NBA Cup Markstein begins. Look at Mark's face. I know how much he loves the Emirates NBA Cup group play begins on Tuesday as the Mavericks take on the Golden State Warriors. Then they'll finish up their 3-game road trip when they visit the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City coming up here in just a moment. In fact, right now, let's go to Denver at Ball Arena and bring in our Mavericks beat writer. That's all right. Tim Cato joining us live from Denver. Tim, what's going on?
Hey, fellas, I'm good. I'm here. We've talked to all the players. We talked to Kyrie. Sorry, trying to catch my breath from running up here.
Dude,
yeah, you're
it's,
okay.
It's tough.
You're in altitude.
That
all
was
right,
actually going to be my first question.
Yeah.
What is the altitude like for Tim Cato tonight?
You know, it didn't feel any different until right here at the very end. And I was like, so I just finished Kyrie, and I knew that you guys were on the last segment, so I was trying to hustle on up here. And so I took the steps 2 at a time, and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that feels a little bit different than it usually does.
Well, suddenly you need to get your wind up. Is what you need to get your wind up.
No, I think you're doing your best, Tim.
No, you are. You are. Speaking of wind.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Speaking of wind, Quentin Grimes didn't get any tonight as he sat tonight on the bench for the Dallas Mavericks. Maxi Kleber didn't get any either. But Quentin Grimes, the reason why he was not on the floor was because of what, Tim?
Coach's decision. And I asked if Jason Kidd wanted to elaborate on what that decision that he as a coach made. And he said, no, more or less. He did later. I asked about Jaden Hardy specifically. Jason said that it's been hard for the role players to establish a rhythm by only playing them in very short spurts. It's almost literally what it's literally what we were talking about on the pregame show. It seemed clear, the way that he described it is that Hardy was the guy who was going to get the run out tonight, and he wanted to stick with him and let him develop a rhythm. Hardy didn't. Nobody's pretending otherwise. It was a poor game from Hardy, but that contributed to the longer leash that he had tonight. Jason Kidd said that on Tuesday, the next game, maybe it's somebody else with that longer leash. And so I'm not saying that we have a 100% clear explanation about exactly what was going through Jason Kidd's mind as he made these rotations, as he planned out these rotations and enacted these rotations. But it did seem like he wanted to have one guy be the focal point, one guy get the minutes. It's possible that as soon as Tuesday, maybe it's Quentin Grimes getting a 20-minute run out, and Jaden Hardy is glued to the bench. That seems possible, but we're just gonna have to see. He didn't provide enough information to know that for sure.
Any reason for Maxey not getting on the floor tonight? Did he speak to any of that?
I didn't ask about Maxey specifically. He was involved in the coach's decision that was declined to.
I would just chime
to be elaborated on.
I would chime in there. Yes, Maxi Kleber was activated and available and in uniform, but I don't think there was any huge expectation that they were really going to go to him because he's been out for a while now and is, had very limited practice time. So it's been a while since he's come anywhere close to NBA full speed basketball. So the Grimes thing, I get why everybody's asking that question. And obviously, Tim wanted to ask it in the press conference because that is a more pressing topic. To me, I'm not shocked that Maxi Kleber didn't get a go, even though, yes, technically he could have played. Just the
coaching staff has never not played him when available, when they feel like he's healthy and available and able to impact a game. I don't think that's changed.
What else stood out to you from Jason Kidd's comments and Kyrie as well post game?
Well, you didn't ask about Klay Thompson's comments.
Oh, I didn't realize Klay had spoke. What did Klay have to say? Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, well, Klay spoke to the media. We did request them. It was not a Luka night, but we wanted to talk to Klay before he goes back to the Bay. And we asked him about, how he was going to view the game. And he said that it's just another regular season game. It's going to be good to see people. But he's not viewing it as anything other than a regular season NBA game. Then he stopped and he corrected himself. No, he stopped and he corrected himself. He said, and I'm summarizing his quote. He said, "Obviously, it has a little bit more importance since it's part of the NBA Cup."
I'm sure Mark loves to hear that part.
So yeah, it's a slightly more important game. He acknowledged that. It's just maybe perhaps not for the reasons that you guys are expecting.
Okay. Shout out to Jared, who's in the chat. He says that Mark Followill said during the broadcast that Max Kleber was only suited up to do pre and mid game shoot around, apparently. So shout out to you, Jared, for providing that comment for us as well.
Get well soon, PJ.
Please. Kyrie, monster night for him. 43 points in this game. Really carried this offense for the Mavericks tonight. What were his thoughts and perspective on what went down, especially the final shot as well at the end of the game?
He didn't want to talk about his performance. He said it was a hollow performance, I believe, or an empty performance, just because Dallas didn't win. He was very focused on the result, and he actually said he needed to be better in the fourth quarter. And he was referring both to the shot at the end of the game, but he also had at least one turnover that he was regretting. So, I didn't step in and say, Kyrie, this is silly. Like, you're the furthest person to be blamed for the loss tonight. But yeah, it was a very professional media showing from Kyrie, who really wanted to focus on the result, not the performance. And it was that was it. He said obviously he was feeling good about the shot, that it's good to feel good about the shot, but he didn't say too much about his heroics, even though they were objectively heroics.
I mean, Klay obviously was trying to downplay the significance of this return when the whole league is going to be paying attention to what happens Tuesday night. The Warriors have made this grandiose gesture by arranging for all 18,000 plus at Chase Center to be given a captain's hat in a nod to Klay's love of boating and the way he would, take his own boat to practice in games. And at some, the crowd is going to be urged to actually tip their cats. They're calling it salute to Klay night and all this stuff. So I guess my question, I have a twofold question for Mr. Cato. A, will you be able to sneak hats for all of us? You have to come back with 5 hats, and one included for Tanner, so we can all have one. But B, in all seriousness, to kind of put on your body language cap now, and just kind of, what did you, when you forget what Klay said, how would you kind of evaluate his psyche? He obviously didn't have the kind of night he was hoping for tonight as a prelude to this big emotional return to San Francisco on Tuesday night. So, just where do you think Klay is?
Yeah, we us journalists, me and you, Mark, I know that we always are like, we're not going to psychoanalyze or speak beyond.
Excuse us. We'll just let's just remove ourselves from the conversation here. So the two journalists, go ahead and have that conversation real quick.
Y'all are being butthurt because I'm about to describe an experience that is very unique to the jobs that me and Mark do. I think that y'all...
I'm not going to say, go ahead.
Y'all...
We have a lot of jokes on this show, but man, you really hit a nerve there. That was real.
Us cool guys.
That was real.
Y'all are playing this up so hard.
Cool guys.
Yeah, we just too cool for school when it comes to that old journalism bit. All right.
I stand by everything I said. It's so at the risk of psychoanalyzing, I'm still here. Look, it did seem a little bit like Klay Thompson was trying to tell himself, it's just another game. He's going to be fine. At one point he said that he's played so many of these games, so he doesn't expect it to be any different. And I don't know what he's actually feeling. I can't speak, I can't report from inside of his mind about what's actually going through his head. I agree with Mark that very clearly he is downplaying something that he understands is going to be a big deal. I am glad that he said the hilarious to me, at least, line about the NBA Cup. And yeah, I mean, he's you know, I'm surprised that when he was asked about the boating hats, the captain hats, he said, yeah, I want to say he said something like, that's good, I think, or that's good, I guess. And I thought he might go off on a rant about how you have to earn your captain's hat, about how they shouldn't put a bunch of unseaworthy, sailors into the Bay Area. That could be, just a terrible thing for the maritime economy of the Bay. If all of a sudden there's far more, wrecks and accidents happening from unexperienced captains who haven't earned that cap. So I thought he was going to go in that direction. He didn't. It would have been cool. I would like to get his thoughts on that at some later point. That said, yeah, I mean, it's going to be all eyes on him here in 2 days. And so the thing I'll end on is this. I asked Kyrie about this as well, and just about his experiences with homecomings. And his message was long and had a bunch of parts to it, but he said, just to be appreciative of the human experiences, the human emotions that go along with it, and understanding that each player reacts to it differently, and players don't really know until it happens how exactly they're going to react to it. Was Kyrie's message. He said he had talked to Klay about it a bit, and so clearly Kyrie has several different types of homecomings that he has experienced. So there is no question that Klay has someone there who has been through this before to give advice if he needs it, or give or offer explanations or clarity or what have you. So that's it can't be a bad thing.
Well, that was beautifully and journalistically very good of you, of the way you explained all that.
It was.
I mean, the two journalists had the floor there, so we'll just let them have the conversation. Just us podcasters over here, we'll just finish out the show.
Hey, said I'm just some guy, dude. And off mic, I'm just some effing guy. I can't say it on here. I'm literally just some guy on the internet. I don't claim to be anything. I'm just some
Don't
dude.
undercut yourself, Bobby. You're a terrific
Throw up
analyst.
Scat Pack's got another winner comment. Put it up there.
Scat Pack 10 says, do you think they'll give Tim a Pulitzer for his groundbreaking work on captain's hats?
If you can get Klay to open up,
I mean, oh, you got to
say I can't.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Tim, for your.
I really thought the first deeply insulting comment on this show would come from me, but man, I was wrong.
Tim
Cato,
striking below the belt,
Cato,
man.
Dan,
Like,
I'm not
Cato.
mad. Don't tell him I'm not mad.
I don't know.
Don't tell him I'm mad.
I wrote a few articles in my day, damn it. Like,
wow.
I'm just.
I actually am
Look,
the least journalist person on this show by
Let me
far.
tell you something.
It's not even close.
You know
You're
what's
the
really,
head of content. That's a very journalistic title.
Is it?
DLLS. Why can't I still say DLLS, head of content? That's modern day sports editor.
I guess.
I guess.
I don't edit
here's what's really
anything,
happening to
unfortunately.
me personally
We have
speaking.
talented editors.
I'm just pissed off because the Mavericks lost tonight. The Cowboys got their ass whooped by the Philadelphia Eagles, who couldn't see that coming. It's just a really tough weekend for DFW sports. Stars out here, 8-5, not great. It's just not a good time right now. But I appreciate all the hard work that you do, Tim Cato, for us here at DLS Mavs. You're on the road in altitude, running 2 stairs at a time. Like, you putting in the real work for us here, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Okay, that's a change in tone.
Get out of here. Goodbye, Tim. Goodbye.
I think you guys know that you overreacted.
In Denver, he got the seat by the.
Oh, the party follows Tim.
It's Club Cato, Ben.
Yeah. Taking
Where
his
you at,
tour
Ben?
on the
It's
road.
Club Cato.
It is. Yeah, Adam Mares was trying to tell me how he has a setup where the laptop is facing the cord and you can see it behind me, and I was like, Adam, I'm in a rush. I don't know exactly.
Only
what you're describing.
podcasters can do that kind of bit, not
DNVR
journalists.
has a restaurant. You haven't been invited to the DNVR restaurant? Why aren't you doing your hit from there?
Well, logistics. It's a little far away.
Yeah, you should have ran. You should have ran out there in the altitude.
It's part of your journalistic duties.
What I
You are never.
it's not.
This is going to be a thing for the next 6 months.
It's going to be a thing all season long. It's going to be a thing now. This is your fault, Cato. It's your fault.
Kevin, you said that's part of my journalistic duties,
Cardio
further
Cato.
proving that you're not a journalist because that's not part of it. You don't even know what my duties are. And I'm in the wrong. You're misdescribing my job to 188 live viewers.
Well,
There's no taking this back. There's no editing it.
Well,
I'm the editor. I'll edit it if I want.
And who knows? Misinformation
live,
is a thing
Bobby.
these days, so who knows? I might be telling
We're
the truth.
live?
Cardio Cato says right there.
Cardio Cato. Oh, Elijah in there. He jumping in?
Uh-oh.
The Denver Nuggets welcome Tim Cato of DLS Sports.
Journalist.
I didn't see any of these for y'all.
Journalist.
I didn't see any of these for, like, did you guys have some, like, over at a different table?
I didn't see any for these for you three hacks.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, and you the other real journalist up here, so I mean, I don't know what's going on at this
All
point.
it takes is one email, Tim. All it takes is one email
this-
from the news desk.
Is this one of your names?
Why are we promoting that? Get that out of here. I don't want to see the Denver Post. I don't want to see anything else Denver for tonight.
I don't know her.
I don't think this is y'all.
I don't know. Don't dox someone.
Yeah, please don't do that. Like, quit showing people's names. Like, quit doing that.
I don't.
This is very
think that's
un-Vonnegut of you,
doxing.
Tim.
This is us letting out our frustration in unhealthy ways. when it
Name
comes-
3 Vonnegut books.
Bye,
Okay,
Tim.
you know what?
It's time to go.
Yeah, we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue this conversation later and see if you can tell us the greatest Kurt Vonnegut moment in the history of cinema. I'm gonna guess you can't.
Although
the
journalists are fighting. The journalists are fighting.
Here's the problem, though. He can Google it now if we don't do it right now.
Taylor's like, please
Look, he doesn't
end
know.
this.
Look at
It's
the-
time
look
to
at the
get
light-
the hell
look-
out
What
of
time
here.
is it?
Game time.
Woo.
I don't know what.
That's right.
What do you mean greatest moment in cinema? Can you
If you
narrow
had watched
down
it,
what
if
that?
you had seen the movie, you wouldn't even have to answer. That there would be no rhetorical time wasting delay question back at me. It is. There's only one answer.
What is it?
Well, it
Back
sounds like I don't.
to school. Look it up.
Oh wow.
He was in Back to School.
Look it up.
The amount of aggressiveness that has descended upon this
Oh,
program.
he was in
here.
Back to School. Aw.
Tim, JP Cantrell says this is below the belt podcasting at its finest.
This
And
what
this is
a
only
two-
game 10,
this is
boys.
what a
Right, this is only game
This is
10.
what a 2-point. You know, nobody. You guys think the Mavs had the worst night possible, but really, no one had a worse night than me, whose leg went into full cramp for the last 10 minutes. Like, I am aging so badly, I can't even sit here without my body falling apart. So
Damn, Mark. Jeez, man. I'm
I
glad
had-
you didn't get into
I had a
altitude
worse
then.
night than the Mavs.
Okay, well, let Mark get out of here. All I'll say is that I still stand by every preseason prediction and expectation I had for this team. I think they're going to be awesome when they're healthy. I think that was a pretty bad loss, but I still think that they're looking like a team that's going to be very good once healthy. And yeah, that's my other non-reported from the locker room takeaways. That's my analysis of the game. And yeah, I understand why people are annoyed and upset, but this showed a lot of why this team is. This performance showed a lot of what this team is and can be very good at, and I think they will be that sooner than later. Anyway,
Mavs
I'm
top
gonna
10
get out of
offense,
here.
top 10 defense. Just saying.
Right now?
Yeah, top 10 offensive rating, top 10 defense
It
offensive.
doesn't
Yeah,
feel like it.
Is that just off the back of tonight?
that is
What were they going into
that is
tonight?
counting tonight. Well, they were a little higher on defense tonight and a little lower on offense
Yeah, I mean,
tonight.
Weren't
Now
they
they're
number
top 10
3
in
Is
both
today their
defensive rating
first time
coming
in the
into
top 10?
in offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Contender status?
Thank you, Tim. Safe travels.
How did this show go way over? Like, this show was
Been
long.
going way too long. Bye, Tim. Been
'Cause-
going for an hour and a half.
Because we're upset. We're upset. Team's 5-5 after 10 games. Tanner's like, wrap this in.
Have you guys seen Back to School?
Yeah, I have.
No.
I watched it in college. Actually, when how fitting, right? Yeah, I did. Pretty good movie.
All right, it's time for us to go. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Through all of-
Ardell, thank you.
Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield, thank you.
for hanging out with us through all of our foolishness tonight. We'll try to do better on
Sometimes
Tuesday.
you have to laugh.
Tanner, jeez, man. Like, golly, bruh. Mavs fall 122 to 120 despite Kyrie Irving going smooth off in altitude tonight with 43 points. The Mavericks will get back on the floor on Tuesday night, where we may or may not have a watch party.
Yeah,
or
stay
watch
tuned.
along.
Stay tuned for that.
To be able to watch the game along with you. Our pregame show for that game will be at what time, Bobby?
8:30 Central PM on the YouTube, and stay tuned for an announcement if we actually do that or not. We're trying to decide.
Mm-hmm.
We
I
might
am working on hats. I will tell you guys, I might have made a little progress on captain's hats.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
let's go.
Maybe.
If Mark can guarantee us captain's hats, we will have a watch along party.
I can't guarantee, but I'm trying.
well.
I'm trying. I'm trying hard.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
8:30 p.m. on Tuesday. That will be our next show for our pregame show as the Mavericks.
If we get captain's hats, we all have to wear it together.
Of course.
Right?
Oh, we're a
Yeah,
captain's
of course.
hat.
Yeah.
You think I have any level of shame or pride? Come on.
No. What is that? It's me. What? Mario something? We're not staying until we get 10,200 subscribers.
How many do we have?
We have over 10,100.
Let me see. I'll give you an answer in.
Yeah.
Hang on. No. Oh, how do I do this?
Oh, geez.
Stop it. No, don't give up.
This is
I
going.
have total faith in our head of content
To find the numbers.
You
Exactly.
just got to
Tell
believe
us.
me. I'm not a journalist.
Right.
We're at 10,116, so we need 84. So
And
I'm
we're
not in
not
the mood
staying
for that.
live until we get to 2,200.
If
We'll
the Mavs had won tonight, maybe.
probably not.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Tanner's like, no.
Maybe.
So join us on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. for our DLS Mavs pregame show. That is our next broadcast as the Mavericks travel to Golden State in what will be Klay Thompson's return game to Golden State after spending 13 seasons and winning 4 championships in the Bay. He will be honored with Captain Klay hats on
Salute
Tuesday.
to Clay Knight.
Salute to Klay Knight in Chase Center in Golden State. For Tim Cato, appreciate him joining us live from Denver. Our guy,
you?
Mark Stein. I do. I really do. I love Tim. Tim's great. Tim's done a lot of great things for me over the years.
A lot of journalistic things.
That's right. That's right. For Mark Stein, Bobby Krilla, I'm Kevin Gray. We have been DLS Mavs. We'll talk to you on Tuesday at 8:30
Good night,
p.m.
everybody. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, I'll be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.